Hello everyone, welcome to Alumni Talks. Today we have with us Mr. Aditya Kale. Welcome, Aditya.
Thank you.
He is our alumni from MANET, Merchant Navy Institute, from the batch 2007. So, Aditya, welcome to the podcast, first of all.
Thank you.
And I would like you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah. So, first of all, thanks for inviting me. I'm coming here after like almost 16 years now. It's really nostalgic and good to see the college has grown from what we were. Like we were the third batch, so it was at a very noisy stage that time. The building was still coming up, but now it's all decked up. So it's actually feeling really good to be back here, and being in this position actually escalates my overall aura. Basically I passed out from like MANET in 2007. I was placed in the campus and I was campus placed and I was placed in Volumes. So Volumes is a Hong Kong based shipping company, and I sailed for a couple of years on the refrigerated cargo vessels. Like my vessels used to carry bananas from South America to Europe. So I was the only one carrying bananas everywhere in entire MANET. And the college was quite new, so everyone was excited about the placement. So when I came back from my first sail, people were asking me like what exactly, what kind of ship I was sailing on. People were telling me it was like, some was saying on oil tankers, some was on containers. I was telling I was sailing on a banana carrier. so I sailed for a couple of years. Then I thought that for my further growth in the career, I need to go offshore. So I decided to pursue my masters in supply chain management. I did it from UK in Newcastle, and I worked in London for a year before coming back to India and starting my own company. So my primary business is into warehousing and supply chain. The company I started in 2013. So it's in the name of Imperial Supply Chain Solutions. So that company has grown from one employee, one client to we have more than 200 people now. I'm happy to say that a couple of Manetians also who are employed with me. And the company, we have a pan-India presence. We are into warehouse and inventory management solutions. So a couple of years back, while doing the B2B warehousing, I realized there's a potential for the B2C market also. So my company was the first one to start a self-storage facility in India, where we dedicated a warehouse for B2C customers and started getting customers who want to store their household stuff and personal stuff in her. So now that idea has evolved into an entire company altogether, or a startup, and it's in the name of Airattix Storage Private Limited. That's another startup which I own. So that's again a US based venture fund backed company. And so my career evolved from a mariner to an entrepreneur. But earlier when I was at this ship, I used to basically deliver the goods at the port. Now I am doing exactly what needs, like from taking the goods from the port to delivering it to the end customer. So it's an end-to-end journey I had.
Perfect. That was like a perfect introduction. So now let's break that introduction in parts. So Aditya, you have said that you were the part of like a third batch, and this building was under construction, and now you're coming back to the university after almost 15-16 years. So how does it feel like coming back to your alma mater, seeing all the progress or how university has developed, how this has developed, or maybe meeting some of the old people? How did you feel coming back to alma mater?
So coming back to the college, obviously it was like struck a chord with me. It was very nostalgic. Seeing the progress obviously elates me. Considering the number of students which are being placed this year, actually that's a good thing. Specifically now there are so many marine colleges across India, and post-COVID now the market is picking up, but MANET is standing out altogether, and they are giving out quality students to this industry. That's actually a good thing to see. I met a couple of people, like a couple of old faculty members when I was around here, and it's good thing that they still are there, and they have been a backbone of this entire college. They have seen this college grow, and they have also grown in the organization. But yeah, definitely it feels really good, and it's good to be back.
Perfect. Yeah. So after that, like you went for a sailing. So how was your like sailing career, or how was that time period? Did you enjoy it? How was it? How was your experience overboard?
Sailing is good. So sailing obviously gives you a kind of confidence which is helping me right now. So when I was sailing in this particular Hong Kong based company, obviously when I was first allocated this vessel, a banana carrier, it's one of the very difficult vessels to sail. considering the entire cargo is refrigerated. So there are containers, the bananas are kept in the bulk also, and they are also in the containers which we are carrying. Plus it has to be kind to be maintained at a minus 18, minus 19 degree temperature. So it is a very difficult vessel to sail, no doubt. But from day one, I realized that okay, like what I had learned theoretically in the college, I had to implement it practically. So it was a complete transition. So when we are here in the college, the faculty is good. We had some good lessons, good teachers. But when we actually go on field in the practical world, it's completely different. So initially it was maybe a couple of months. It took me time to adjust, and then after 2-3 months, I started enjoying my sailing time. Obviously, luckily we get to meet a lot of new people from different countries. So all my vessels which I sailed, I had a mixed crew. Like the crew was Filipino, the officers were Russian. Only a couple of Indians were there. So that's actually a good diversity sailing under one roof. So these kind of small things, they teach us a lot. Considering only 20 people or 22 people are sailing on the vessel, you have to be at your own, and obviously when I passed out I was hardly 21, 22. So that's quite a tender age, and suddenly you are shipped to Italy and now you have to sail for 9 to 11 months. So it is difficult, no doubt, but gradually it helps you mature. That's what I thought. Sailing was fun. Overall, the ports we used to visit, the kind of, because being a food carrier, obviously we used to go to remote ports. We also, in one of my vessels, I also managed to sail in the northern Tundra region. So there are some like places which we'll never visit at tourist also. So those places I could explore, and luckily being a bulk cargo vessel, obviously my vessels used to stop in the ports for 2 to 3 days. So at some locations. So I used to get a lot of time to go on shore and obviously explore the city kind of thing. So overall it was good experience. We had some good and bad experiences obviously. So but most of the journey was pretty nice, and whatever I learned on the vessel, it is helping me right now as a person. As a word, yeah.
So like you were doing good as a sailor, or you were having like you were just learning so many things. So what motivated you to transition into an entrepreneur?
So see, sailing is something which basically limits you to a certain profile. I wanted to diversify. Considering I come from a business background, I always wanted to do something of my own. So that's why I decided, okay, if I don't quit at the right time or switch my line at the right time, it's very difficult after a certain age. So I thought that, okay, now after maybe 2-3 years into sail, I thought that I want to do something. So I decided to quit the shipping line. When I quit, I had actually no idea what I'm going to do. So I started talking to ex-mariners, some good people in the industry who are maybe successful entrepreneurs or doing some good things on shore. But then somebody recommended me, okay, supply chain is the most picking up thing right now, it's the next big thing. So that's how I ended up doing my MBA in supply chain in UK. And then the rest is history. Once I entered this particular course in the university, I started liking and understanding it. And I could actually see that this can be this can be turned into a good business. And India being an upcoming market that time also. So I decided to come back from UK and start my own thing. But obviously sailing and onshore are two different worlds. So what I have, like my experience at sea are quite different. My experiences at land are quite different. But both these things, they can't have a, like they as a personality maybe they have a synergy, but they are like parallel worlds running together. Yeah.
So as you have mentioned, these two lives are completely different. Life on a sea is different. Life or maybe doing business on a shore is very different. So how did you transit into that particular field, or what were the challenges did you face while transitioning? Because mindset on the people who are sailing could be different, and mindset on the people who are doing business is very different. So how did you transit into that particular phase, and what all challenges did you face during that time?
So as an entrepreneur, when I started my journey, the one thing I realized is that, okay, you are always alone at the top. So when you are sailing, you have a team who takes the responsibility if something goes wrong. you have to mutually resolve that issues. It can be an engine issue or anything. But when you are messing up here as a businessman, obviously you have to resolve those own issues independently. You don't have anybody basically you to go to or who can take the ownership of your leads. So the first lesson I learned, we had a good teamwork at C. Here initially I had to act independently. Now I have a hierarchy and all. But obviously when I decided to switch over from my sailing days to an entrepreneurial journey, we these are two different worlds. Obviously, here on land we have different set of issues. Specifically, the business I do, like it's very labor centric and asset driven business. So in Imperial, so obviously the labor issues are something which we never face at when you are sailing at the vessel. So here not only like when I'm sailing, obviously you should be more aware of how the engine performs. As a from mechanical point of view, you should be thorough. But here you as an entrepreneur, you should have a 360-day approach. You should not only be thorough in what business you are doing, but you should be a good salesperson. You should be a good manpower management is something which plays a key role when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Then accounts, finance, everything you have to take care of. You have to have at least basic understanding. So it's very difficult to evolve, but gradually if you are firm and if you like what you're doing, it helps you. So definitely it was a very difficult transition, but considering my passion to what I'm doing right now, it helped me sail through.
So perfect. So as of like what I understood from answer is like you have explored all these parts. So as we are exploring into a new thing, or maybe as a new entrepreneur, many times we make many mistakes. So what will be what were the mistakes you have made, and you will suggest new entrepreneurs to avoid?
So I see that a lot of shippies nowadays are like the mariners nowadays. They want to do something on their own. Like they are looking, because we are in a startup era. So startups, people want to have their own startups or their companies or some businesses on here. So one thing I would like to suggest anybody who's trying to do a business here after some sailing time is that do proper market survey. That is something we need to find the gap in the market. There's a lot of competition which is here. It's quite fierce, the entire competition. So obviously we need to find the gap which is there in the market. Like what I did with Airattix, there's no self-storage or public storage facility in India. I saw that there is a gap. People want to store their household stuff, but they are not able to find a place, or maybe there are, but they are not markedly publicized. So that's actually the gap I identified. I invested in that particular venture in a very systematic way. So here obviously we need to identify the gap in the market. That's what something maybe I didn't do initially. I just a young kid switching the lines. So that's something we need to do. We need to have proper analysis, proper market survey. That's the basic things we need to do. Then obviously getting good people is a very difficult task. So never fight your war alone. You always hire good people, take somebody to like who you can share the journey with, and that will actually help you divide the risk also. And obviously that's something which will help you scale up fast. Considering if you're alone at the apex, when you are stuck, you're stuck. So if you had somebody to discuss to or talk to, or maybe not partner necessarily, but at least maybe he can be a conveyor in the journey. So obviously those kind of having a good team, it always helps. So this is something which identifying and taking good people on board from day one, that's something which should be done. So these things will help these like new entrepreneurs like stabilize in this industry, offshore industry, very fast.
Perfect. Yeah. So as per my understanding, many of the mariners think to start their own business. So maybe they are at their maybe they are chief engineer also, they are captain also, or maybe who are like third engineer or fourth engineer also. But only one thing they are stuck at is like they don't know where to start. So what were your initial phases? Like how did you decide upon like, okay, I want to do this kind of a business, or maybe if you have decided, okay, this is the business where I want to enter, what were your like next initial steps?
Yeah. So obviously, as I mentioned before, finding the gap in the market is something in the need of the hour. If you are planning to do offshore business, firstly, specifically, it should be relevant. Firstly, it should be relevant. So suddenly relevant to my previous career. So as a sailor, as I told you, I used to deliver goods up to the port. Now I am picking up all those goods from the port and then I am delivering it to the end customer. Whatever supply chain falls in between, like custom clearance, then warehousing, storage, repackaging, and the last mile deliveries. This entire thing I'm doing. So somewhat it completes the chain. So supply chain is a huge subject. Supply chain, obviously, there are a lot of things which these seamen or can explore if they come on like offline and or they come on the shore. So the first thing, obviously, my recommendation, if a seaman is switching the job from sailing to like an offshore job, firstly he has to at least have some kind of theoretical knowledge also how things work when it comes to onshore. So we had couple of managers who were working for me, couple of them are still working for me, but most of the people, they have, after quitting shipping, they have done at least some kind of maybe an diploma or an MBA in operations or supply chain, or maybe a 3 to 6 month course in supply chain. It creates the theoretical awareness, and then once the theory is firm, then you can actually go and start your career offshore. So here it's all about sales. Here we should know how to sell. It can be a service, it can be a product. If you are good at selling, you are going to succeed. So at sea, obviously, we are meant to do certain tasks as an engineer. As a chief engineer also, we are meant to follow some protocols like Maripol is something which is now comes under the purview of chief engineer. So, and plus as a chief engineer already the merchant navy guys have or a captain, as a chief engineer or a captain, obviously merchant navy guys have an experience of manpower management, like they are managing a team. But here managing the team management is completely different, has a completely different definition. So at least what I suggest, if you are switching, you should have some kind of theoretical knowledge, like whatever business you are going to do, it can be supply chain related, it can be anything, any which way, or can be finance related. At least have an in-depth understanding of theory, and then start the business. So that helps, obviously.
Perfect. So being an entrepreneur, we definitely need to follow particular lifestyle or maybe a particular discipline. So maybe life at like sea, or maybe discipline which you might have followed at MIT, like a morning parade, or maybe the disciplined life which marine engineering or a like marine lifestyle teaches you. So how does it helps you in your particular life, or maybe as an entrepreneur, how does it help you, or does it actually help?
Yeah, it helps. Considering, see, first thing, we were all staying together in a hostel. So that was like a first time when most of our lives, like most of the cadets were to come here, they were leaving their homes for the first time. So staying in Manet, obviously, it gave me a different kind of exposure, good and bad both. But obviously it helped me understand the diversity when I was studying. So I'm a Pune guy, obviously. So when I was studying in Pune in my earlier life, obviously I was accustomed to only local guys. But now when I came here, I could see people from north, south, I could see people as long as from Assam and Guwahati and the Seven Sisters. We all are sitting together, dining together, we made different sets of friends, we understood their lifestyles. So that was actually a first cultural exposure which I got. So that actually helped me. Plus obviously the routine what Manet had, like from the morning PT to having specific time for meals, and obviously switching off the lights before like maybe at 10:30. So obviously this inculcates some kind of discipline into you, which it didn't help me immediately, like when I was a sailing, because at sail you have shifts are quite different. But or maybe when I was 10 years younger from now. But now at this age, I think these things what I did, I am inculcating it's important, and I am actually finding it beneficial that okay, these are the roots which were actually polished at that time. Yeah.
So now let's take you back to your era. We'll talk about your college life. What kind of a student were you? Like you were very studious kind of a student, or you were very notorious kind of a student?
Oh, I was a horrible student. Like I think there are a couple of faculty.
That's why I guess all these faculties remember.
So there are a couple of faculties, you can just ask me. So academically, yeah, I completed my engineering 4 years. So I didn't have any year down or anything. I got my campus placement also. I was one of the top 20-25 students to get placed. So, but again, I don't call myself an academically excellent student, considering I passed out in 2007. The market was really good that time. So like most of the cadets were getting placed. So 2000, before that Lemon Brothers thing happened, then the market started collapsing. But that time, those 2007, 2008, that those years, most of the cadets were getting placed, and the market was on boom. The global trade was growing. Many companies were buying new vessels. Obviously, they needed such kind of people. But yeah, but any which way, I was not a really good student. I had been in the disciplinary committee quite a few times. In a month, I can say. So I had some. All my memories are like either I am in detention or maybe I am
Any
random
particular
somewhere.
incident you would like to
Oh
share?
yeah, a lot of them. So there was a parade. That time the parade used to happen here in the in the front porch.
Parade.
Yeah. So there was a parade ground, and that time there was a warden. His name was Mr. Firoz. So he was there for a few years. A small guy. So he had to prove himself, considering he was new. So he was giving instructions all loud and clear, and he was, if somebody was not standing properly, and he was an ex-Navy guy, so he thought this was also Navy, but this is commercial Navy. So people little bit relaxed, no doubt, but he didn't like that thing. And then also there was another warden called Mr. Chavan. So he was also there for about 12-15 years in MIT-ADT. Even after I passed out, he was there. So when I was, the parade was going on, and this guy was shouting, and I was fed up. I didn't have a good day for whatever may be the reasons.
Okay.
But it was then the parade was evening, 5 to 6 or 6:30. So this gentleman, he was speaking, and his mic switch was lying there in front of me. So it was an extension cord, and the mic switch was lying in front of me. So I was so fed up of him. I went ahead. और मेरे को पैसे बंद कर दिया स्विच. हाँ, चिल्ला रहा है जोर से, एकदम आवाज इसकी बंद हो गई. सबने देखा मैंने किया था. Everybody was laughing and all. What happened? He was so frustrated that time. कि how, because he was in the full tempo, and suddenly then he realized switch has gone out. Then again he started. Again after a few minutes I was bored. Again I switched off, and everyone was having fun. After they had took whatever disciplinary action they wanted to take, and once they found out I had done that, then I used to play volleyball from Manet team. So that was an achievement actually. We had won the Inter-Marine Collegiate Pan India tournament that time. So I was the vice captain of that team. So it's a good memory. I still play that game. And few other things, like obviously those things happen when you are in a boys' hostel. But it was overall a fun part.
That was actually my next question. How was your hostel life?
Oh, hostel life was good. Like actually, good to be away from home kind of thing for me. The friends, I'm still in touch with them, most of them. So all were like pretty relaxed and all. And luckily, me being a local guy, I knew some places which most of them didn't know.
So you were the tourist guide for those kids.
I was like kind of taking them to some good places, and they were quite happy with them. Then when I was in the final year, this design college started. So he started getting some good crowd also. So last 6 months were like most awesome part, you can say. And that time this design college girls, they didn't have their own mess. They used to come to a mess to dine. So and we being the final year students, obviously we were at the edge, and we were quite dominant. Like okay, now we could change our timings of mess and all. But yeah, it was good overall. 4 years, it was fun. Like no regrets being here. So my maternal grandfather, he was in the Indian Navy. So I tried for Indian Navy also, INS Shivaji. I didn't get through there for whatever reasons. Then, but obviously I wanted to do something related to marine. But after I didn't get to INS Shivaji, that time this college had newly opened. So I decided to apply for this, and I got through. But it was fun overall. What I experienced here, it helped me. I made some good friends. Yeah, that's it.
So perfect, Aditya. It was really nice talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing all the insights about your industry also, your business also, and about Manet also. So it was pleasure talking to you. And thank you so much all of you for watching us till the last, and we'll be coming up with more exciting episodes with many of our alumni. So thank you so much, and thank you so much, Aditya, for coming and visiting us. Thank you.
Thank you.